Meteorologist Casey Cloud with you in the Weather Center just past midnight here, just past 12 a.m. on this Saturday. We're tracking a severe thunderstorm warning right now in play for parts of Leon and McCulloch counties until about 12:30 this morning. So I gotta be really careful here as we're looking toward Tallahassee. I know you've been getting hit by a storm, and it just went severe warning here in about the last 10 minutes or so. Getting some of those gusts around town, and still near the airport area here, and then toward Crawfordville, we got to watch out as well. I know it's been kind of a tricky night here. The storm's developing even more than we thought across our region. In fact, another warning is popping up now for Jefferson County and the Monticello area until about 12:30. That just came on the screen here in the last few seconds. So we'll get to that here in just a moment. But let me just kind of talk about what's been going on. So we've only had one other warning before these two warnings popped on up here over the last few moments. And a very tricky situation because we ended up having quite a bit of damage to that one warning up toward Berrien County, Georgia earlier on, and that area was under the warning as well as it looked like areas there toward Lanier. So I know in Berrien County there were trees and power lines down. The radar signature wasn't all that impressive, but a roof was even blown off a building apparently, based on more information with the local storm report a little bit later on. That was a pawn shop, and then we ended up having some problems in Madison County as well, where we ended up seeing reports of trees down in toward the region. Very odd situation here, and we didn't have any warnings in those storms. I know we posted just on Facebook and Twitter about the situation toward areas there around Berrien County before that happened, but no warnings, unfortunately, for Madison there, Madison County that is, and then again, that rain chance, we raised it from 10 to 30% there as we were looking into the timeline, but ended up having a situation here where things probably got closer to 50% of our area here in some regards. So tricky situation because we're also trying to focus on the tropics. And you see that warning here, that one we just came on the air for Tallahassee. They just canceled it here after only about 10 minutes of being in effect. So very odd situation here, to be quite honest. They just canceled that. They're saying the storm has weakened below severe limits, they think. So let's kind of see what's going on here. We'll go ahead and kind of zoom on in. You see some brighter velocity values. We had a gust to 54 at the airport, but maybe some decay starting to show up a boundary I see on here just right off. Maybe kind of seeing some weakening here as this stuff gets into more rural areas as well. So let's check the other warning that just popped up toward areas moving toward Monticello. Let's try to give you guys a heads up there on Monticello. This warning in effect here, pretty bright signature right now there. As we're looking, especially just on the southeast side maybe of town, seeing velocities there over 50 miles an hour. So again, scenario here with this maybe moving more toward drifting, but we still have some greens and reds here indicating just some wind enhancement, not rotation necessarily, moving more toward Monticello. So again, kind of getting dicey. I know unfortunately some storms impacting high school football games earlier on. At this point, I don't think any of them would still be going now or delayed earlier on. I know some got pushed back in towards Saturday here as weather. It just seems to kind of not like Friday nights here lately, it seems like. Going back to last year, I know we had a lot of issues where we're at in Bradford County with different games that we were playing, whether they were on the road or at home. I mean, I went to Bradford, that's why I say we, but I graduated from there. But again, just a situation where we just had so many nights here get impacted on those football type of showcases per se. So gonna have some issues here if we have a storm come through next week and during the middle of next week and end up having some of those games that are scheduled for Friday. If there's still damage around, those could be impacted. We'll see. But again, let's just go ahead and focus on this right now. Very tricky situation. We'll stick with this one since we've had so much verification on stuff that wasn't even warned earlier on. Let's just stick with this one toward Jefferson County right now. Monticello, over toward Joaquina, Osceola, Caps, over even Lloyd, Nash, and Drifton there under this warning to about 12:30. So again, the warning that we came on for just a few moments ago, that fell apart, getting a little bit of wind enhancement now, moving toward Crawfordville though. So again, an odd situation altogether here, and seeing gusts that could be up to about 40 here and towards some of these areas in between, but had gusts there of 45 or so in the ward areas there in Tallahassee. To be precise, it's actually 48. Our system just rounds down on that, but 48 miles an hour is what happened at the FSU Rec Sportsplex a few minutes before the warning got issued, and then right when the warning got issued, there was a gust of 54 miles an hour at Tallahassee Airport. So a little bit earlier than that, a gust of 39 at FSU. That wasn't maybe as concerning. That's a little bit lower down there, but that was on the FSU weather stem station at Doak Campbell Stadium. So again, no warning there anymore. The warning got issued very quickly and then went away very quickly. That was interesting. But again, let's go ahead and look toward I-10 here. I know we had some issues even in Madison County. We didn't have a warning there. These storms are tricky on radar. They're really tricky. Again, we weren't expecting really severe that much. That's what we earlier in the week. We didn't even think this maybe be a dry stay of the whole 7-day period, the Friday and Friday night time frame, and that didn't materialize, obviously. So we did mention that we had a chance of some storms coming in from Georgia though Thursday night, and that ended up happening. But going back toward Madison County earlier on, there was even a report. Besides this law enforcement reporting trees blocking US 90 there, we even had information that a tree, I don't know if there's any injuries associated to do with this or not. It wasn't listed, so hopefully not. But a tree even blew down in the westbound lanes of I-10 at mile marker 241, striking a truck. So that's unfortunate there. That's 3 miles southwest of Greenville in Madison County. Of course, we alluded to it last night. We had severe weather come together very quickly in terms of real big danger. Nothing like, it was a lot worse than what we're seeing around here up toward Michigan last night, where they just had a lot of problems there. Fatalities being reported, tornadoes that were, one of them was very serious looking on radar for a few scans. So again, not seeing tornado situations. It's our policy for the tornado warning to always be on, and we haven't had anything close to that here. Don't get me wrong. We're just on our second and now third of warnings here, and hopefully our last warning of the night toward areas there with some of the strongest winds just south there of US 90 and parts of Jefferson County. So again, a situation here that we're tracking right now. The severe thunderstorm warning referred to Jefferson County until 12:30. The storm moving southwest in our direction for area at 20 miles an hour. Monticello's under this, but you saw where we were at here, just northeast of Drifton here as well. Seeing some pixels about 53, 54 miles an hour. So just make sure whenever thunder words go indoors, etc., inside a sturdy building, and stay away from those windows. So again, a odd situation there. Let me take the precautions off though right now as we continue to get new information, and I see a new marine warning just popping up toward the coast there of McCulloch County. So seeing some strong thunderstorm activity down that way. Let's go ahead and check some power outage numbers now. We'll go ahead and try to get an idea of what's going on in that regard. So just bear with me here. I have to get new model runs in on what could become a tropical threat for our area next week. That's why the logo is red. We're very concerned about that here. But the details are still murky, so it's hard to really get into much more than that. But as more model runs and more information comes in on that threat here, we'll be able to get a better handle on things and be able to pass that along to you guys. So look in Leon County, 2,561 customers in the dark right now. Jefferson County, 221 customers out. 102 in Hamilton County, 149 in McCulloch County. And then let's see, I know Michigan, there's still over 250,000 out according to Power.us from what happened there where things really overachieved. I mean, we're supposed to have severe thunderstorms, but not multiple tornadoes here. And I mean, a lot of the power outages just from the severe thunderstorms that were really robust as well. But back to our Georgia County, 617 customers still out right now in Berrien County, Georgia, and then 460 out in Coffee County, Georgia. So just gotta kind of keep our eyes on that situation here as well. Let me go ahead and just look here. What else we might have? Let me go back to our normal view on radar here. You can see that banding coming through Crawfordville now. I know we had a little bit of push wind out ahead. And here in Bradford County toward that Bradford High School football game earlier on as well. Bradford getting that win 12-0 over Baker County, but again, a situation there had that push of wind there out ahead of some rain, and I had some lightning, not necessarily in the area, but I got kind of lucky with that there. There was a chance stuff could have tried to form one there, but I had some stuff to the north, a little lightning to the south, but with that accident, but none right in that immediate radius here around the stadium. So that was good news. But again, just looking at some of our latest information on the tropics, even we're seeing new guidance come in literally right. This is the time that it comes out. So I'd be looking at that right now instead of looking at the radar. But actually, I'm doing both. I just pulled it up here, our new American model, and it's really starting to pick up on this more. I'm taking more poleward as a stronger system, maybe something that really even the Western Florida Panhandle might have to watch based on that assessment. But really, anybody along the west coast of Florida, I mean, we're talking about anywhere on the Gulf Coast of Florida, needs to be really paying attention here to this, and that includes inland areas from there, and includes our viewing circle. Pretty much our entire area needs to be watching this potential here for the tropics. Don't have a graphic in here for it at this very moment, but again, just continuing to watch things here in the Weather Center. And let me see what our other models are showing right now. I don't want to like focus too much on one model in the air here like this, but just kind of looking, yeah, a lot of stuff's pretty similar still further east on those. And so we still got to be watching the Euro model. Comes out in a couple hours. By the way, a rocket launch supposed to happen here later tonight too with astronauts. That's something if you're up late, if it's safe for you to go outside there between just the weather and I mean, it's dark. If it's not well lit, could have wild animals around, then that might be something to check out there around 3:27 a.m. But again, just continue to watch this severe thunderstorm warning here toward the Monticello area right now. We had a warning toward Tallahassee that popped up on us here over the last little bit, and that went away here very, very quickly. So again, let's just see what else we might have here right now. If there's any questions, I don't see anything. But again, thanks so much for tuning in and trusting me here as we're live just past midnight. I know we did a little Facebook stream there earlier with the radar when stuff was around dark. Didn't want to put it on the other platforms because I didn't want to overhype stuff that ended up not even being really a lightning threat toward that area with our storm potential incoming next week possibly. But this stuff here with the verified gustus under severe around Tallahassee, thought we should jump on, and then now warning still in effect toward Jefferson County. Make sure you're inside and away from windows there in that area or anywhere that has lightning around. So again, let me go ahead and see where I also want to go with this. Let me go ahead and jump to our wide view, I think, and let's kind of pull that up here. No formal risk. I mean, we weren't really expecting severe weather. Some of the models are starting to pick up on stuff. That's why I raised rain chances, but not quite this degree here. We did end up having some damage there toward Madison County, toward Berrien County especially. Probably end up having some damage in Leon County based on those winds getting that high there toward the airport. Somewhere 54-mile-an-hour gust. I mean, that's pretty substantial there. I guess a little less than that there toward the rec sportsplex there is, I mean, the class is supposed to start on Monday. Hopefully the tropics hold off and we were to get that started there. The fall semester 2023, but I mean, for Monday, weather will be okay in Tallahassee. That in terms of tropics, it's just the preparation might start to pick up, and that could lead to some decisions having to be made here as we get later on into the week there in UF and or UF may end up being a situation where the track goes further east or west. We'll just have to wait and see. The system hadn't even developed, and that's what's tricky about this. Sometimes they are already developed by now, so there's a little more notice, per se, a little more, I guess you could say, preparedness going on, and you might not have much time to prepare for this one. It could develop very quickly in the Gulf waters. Now, one thing I do want to say here while we're on, and I'm kind of using this severe cut in here just to talk about the tropics some too. I think it's important since folks are really watching here right now just to make sure that you guys are aware of maybe the bigger picture here versus just the microscale situation that we're watching in Jefferson County. We were coming on for Leon and McCullough, but that has weakened enough to drop that warning. But I want to stick with Jefferson in case we get some more damage there near I-10 because storms verifying and honestly really causing damage even when there weren't warnings. So, I mean, I guess you just call those missed damaging events. I don't know a better way to say that. I mean, I didn't see a lot either. So this is just tricky stuff sometimes here. The pattern pushing that wind down toward the surface, unfortunately, it seems. But again, let's just go ahead and pop up stuff from the Hurricane Center real quick, or back that up. Our system says Hurricane Center, but these are not directly from them per se. These are models here on the Invest. Now, we were talking about last night talking about it last night here that we didn't have it designated, so we didn't get the model runs, but a couple of the models now showing up in our system, and you can see down toward the Caribbean there, developing this. Some of them kind of looping around for a little bit, but then as we get toward Tuesday, I'll put this marker on the screen. You see here, down here, that's Tuesday, early Tuesday. So take the radar off as well. Could have it in that area there, toward west southwest to Key West by a good ways. I mean, that's as we measure this here, about 230 miles maybe. Pretty good consensus between us to GFS, and then it's actually the consensus model to TVCN, and then you have, and that's just pretty much kind of adds all the models together per se. But then as we go ahead and go to the north here, you can see here that we're tracking some stuff where this could be a stronger tropical storm, seeing winds there, or maybe in a consensus model in that 60-mile-an-hour range or so. And then same storyline as we get toward the coast here on these two models, and then maybe making a landfall in the Big Bend. But there's other models out there that this system not necessarily so in, but if the hurricane center with a track right now, which is not a system and it's not a potential tropical cyclone designation, too early for that to issue the watches for that, so they're not doing so. But if they were to have to do a track right now, it'd probably follow the one there in the dark pink per se, the very dark pink there, and probably similar intensity. It might go a little bit stronger because of the Gulf waters here. There's another model, the H-warp model, the HWRF per se, that we use here that's going stronger. It likes to do that sometimes here in these situations. Unfortunately, it's been right more maybe in some ways than it's been wrong, but it's not a great on track. So hadn't popped up in this system yet, but something we got to watch for, and that's what we got to be prepared. I mean, honestly, our whole area's got to be thinking that there's a small chance at least that a hurricane can come in here next week and cause big time problems. That's not out of the question here. So gotta be prepared. The tax-free holiday here starting at midnight. I think we have our graphics system. Again, wasn't really planning on having to come on here right now, but we have our graphics up here actually on our other source. So let me go ahead and take it to that. We'll go ahead and see that name list and just remind you now about that holiday, that tax-free holiday here. So there you go. You have our Florida disaster preparedness sales tax holiday, the second one now. First time I think they've done this year that I recall in the state, running from today. So right after midnight here in the Eastern time zone. I would think the online purchases there would be tax-free on that list, and that runs through Friday, September the 8th. So you have Franklin there. We're not too concerned about it, but it's the I name here. We're just going to have to look at that one here. We're just going to have to watch here to see if that is what ends up evolving. Could be the J, but I know this I name's unfortunately notorious sometimes as I name storms for causing big problems. This Hex is a name here that replaced Irma 6 years ago, which is an odd coincidence. Hopefully, I mean, if you want to make comparisons, Harold replaced Harvey. It hit a similar area, but it was a lot weaker. So if this is a similar area, hopefully it's a lot weaker. So we'll see. There's no real kind of common denominator that would suggest anything like that. Just any type of correlation is just odd coincidence here. But anyway, let's see here. I want to try to get that list up real quick. I know we saw that warning that we're tracking toward Jefferson County. I'm going to stick with it here. But while we're on, let's just get some of this other information out, because we're putting special coverage. We're still going to have special coverage as needed on the storm system, and that's the bigger deal right now. But kind of a good reason to be on here, too. As I see, just a 44, Panacea, looks like a Wakulla area there at about 12:14 on a Tempest weather station from our strong thunderstorm activity. But okay, so that disaster preparedness sales tax holiday, I wouldn't generally go through it like this, but if you're not able to get like the link that they have on the Florida Revenue website, they have quite a few things that are delineated here that are really what is available. So let's go ahead. That is tax-free. I mean, a lot of stuff you can use for a storm. Other stuff, well, not necessarily. I mean, you're not in a situation where you actually, I mean, would need it for the storm. You'll be able to use it for household use. So that's kind of something to keep in mind. So talking about a situation where you have $10 or less is the tax-free on those items that are dog or cat food if sold individually, or the equivalent if sold in a box or case. $15 or less manual can openers, collapsible or travel-sized food or water bottles for pets, cat litter pans, pet waste disposal bags, hamster or rabbit, some stuff for that. I know it gets really specific here, but again, some it looks like just some stuff there that tax-free if it's $15 or less in cost there. 20 or less there, tax-free, reusable ice, leashes, collars, muzzles for pets and pet pads here. $25 or less, tax-free, cat litter weighing 25 or fewer pounds. If anything that's cost $30 or less in this category that you need is tax-free. Talking about laundry detergent and supplies, powder, liquid, or pod detergent, fabric softener, dryer sheet, stain remover, bleach, toilet paper, paper towels, paper napkins, tissues, facial tissues, hand soap, bar soap, body wash, sunscreen, and sunblock, dish soap and detergents, including powder, liquid, or pod detergents or rinse agents that can be used in dishwashers, cleaning or disinfecting wipes and sprays, hand sanitizer, also not trash bags there. If they're $30 or less, they're tax-free. Then you go to the 40 or less category. If the stuff costs 40 or less, this stuff is for disaster preparedness, sales tax holiday that could be used in an emergency situation for your hurricane kit. We're talking about portable self-powered light sources and pet beds. Again, tax-free that costs $40 or less. If it costs $50 or less, then portable self-powered radios are tax-free, as well as two-way radios, weather band radios there. Talking about gas or diesel fuel tanks, batteries, including rechargeable batteries, listed sizes only though. That's AA cell, AAA cell, C cell, D cell, 6-volt, 9-volt. And then for $60 or less, I need to check that warning information again. Okay, they haven't dropped it yet, so they're still keeping it to $12.30 for now for Jefferson. But we're going to $60 or less tax-free now. Non-electric food storage coolers and portable power banks. $70 or less tax-free smoke detectors or smoke alarms. Fire extinguishers, carbon monoxide detectors, and then $100 or less tarpaulins or other flexible waterproof seating, ground anchor systems, portable pet kennels or pet carriers, dog or cat food weighing 50 or fewer pounds, and then over-the-counter pet medications, and then $3,000 or less portable generators used to provide light or communications or to preserve food in a power outage. And with generators, you got to be really careful. Carbon monoxide poisoning can be a threat there that can turn deadly, so keep that in mind. Be very, very careful if you get one of those there. Don't have it in your house. If it's on gasoline, you can't do that. That can be deadly. So again, you just got to be keeping that in mind there for sure. So that holiday just coming into play here at midnight Eastern time. I mean, there's not too many stores open at midnight here, but maybe online sales there possibly. I know it's used. You can get that on the school supplies there. So again, let's just continue to watch the tropics here. Could end up having a dahlia here as we look here. Or dahlia. I'll have to know some of the pronunciations there on that. So again, just have to continue to watch that. Make sure to get the pronunciation down as well as we're looking. That I-name storm there could be an issue for us. So just stay tuned for the latest. Okay, they just expired that warning for Jefferson. Let's give you another radar update here. Okay, so that warning's off the screen now in Jefferson. Let's give you another radar update here. Toward Jefferson County Interstate 10, another getting heavy rain there. Some gusty winds possible along the interstate, so just be careful if you're driving there late at night and maybe coming back from a high school football game somewhere even. It's got to be kind of careful here. And then as we're looking at things, you see some stuff doing Leon and Wakulla, not severe warned right now, but still just be careful. Just be careful in these type of circumstances. Just have to watch things and continue to watch. So again, could be watching that threat there from Idalia there. Just double checking that pronunciation again. I know I'm probably going to be saying that storm a lot, unless we somehow get down to Jose, then will probably really focus there on what's in the Gulf that would end up getting that name Idalia versus Jose here. Would seem more likely at this point. But seeing a little bit of wind enhancement here, Southwest Equipment. We'll watch that as well. You have some scattered showers and storms. Again, that's what we came on for. The severe threat has started to materialize here over the last little bit. Let me go ahead and go to this broad perspective here. You can see temperatures 70s and 80s, very warm, and got very warm where we're at here, into the upper 90s per se, and then toward 100 around Tallahassee. A very hot summer here, and sometimes the atmosphere has a way of balancing things out with a tropical system. And that could be, to some degree, what's happening here coming up next week with Idalia. So again, just continue to watch things. Just continue to watch things here in the Weather Center. Just have to make sure we give you guys the very latest on what's going on in the grand scheme of things. And I'm checking all my different sources right now. I know I see Lisa there coming. The lightning was crazy in northeast Tallahassee when the storm came through. Yeah, that's before had that warning on there, unfortunately. But seeing a few power outages around Leon County at the last check. Let me go ahead and check here. And go ahead and go to our power outage numbers. And yeah, Leon County, now that number's gone up. Wow. According to Power.us, over 7,700 customers now in the dark in Leon County, city of Tallahassee. It's over 7,000 there as a few moments ago. Over 6,000 is the latest number as I go to the map itself, with 67 different outages per se, affecting 6,101 customers. I hope to sit in some type of, I guess you could say, prelude to what we could end up having here next week with Idalia potentially on the horizon. I know Hermine caused so many power outages in Tallahassee in 2016. It's hard to believe it's been 7 years pretty much since that happened, but I mean, we had Michael there more focused to the west, but still power outage problems around Tallahassee in 2018, so might be a good idea to start getting some stuff there to prepare for that potential next week. And then if you're preparing or not, make sure you're turning your devices as well. If we have a threat here coming into play next week, that's something we got to really be focused on here to some degree as we're looking ahead and toward that timeline. So again, let me go ahead and pull up some more information on the tropics right now. As that warning went away, so really no reason to stick with you much longer, but we're going to talk about the tropics a little longer here, just to give you guys the very latest. So again, we kind of already talked about a different supplies. I don't want to rehash that again. Probably something we won't really get into too much more. So at least kind of putting that out there for a moment with all the different categories in terms of the prices there, or lower that are tax-free. Kind of giving you that. But you see, we could have an issue with flooding, coastal or inland, so sandbags may be needed. Of course, if there's a storm surge that really starts to emerge, we could end up seeing, on the west coast of Florida here, maybe some evacuations be ordered. It's really, really early here, but in some ways it's not, because the system could develop very quickly. So, I mean, we could have any time in a landfall by early Wednesday here. So it's Saturday now. So things, you could just snap your fingers here, and then things could really just be rapidly getting going. Make sure, again, charge your devices, but then be ready to move to an interior room in a tornadic situation. And a northeast quadrant of storm generally the most favorable. And after a storm moves through, stand away from power lines, and generator safety critical, as we were alluding to with that carbon monoxide poisoning threat there from those portable generators, the gasoline powered ones. I know. We've seen it so many times. Folks hit through the storm and then they have a problem after the storm. And you gotta be so careful, because, I mean, the numbers are just staggering, really. With so many people getting to the storm and then they get killed by the power lines there. Live line, they get near it and then it causes electrocution, or generator safety, maybe not practiced to a T there, and then you end up having a real big problem with carbon monoxide poisoning. So again, just gotta be prepared here. Maybe we don't have the storm, but we have a lot of power outages. Maybe it's a lower end storm, like a tropical storm, or lower end category 1. But think of Hermine, we had so many power outages for a while. So over Tallahassee, so people still had that generator safety consideration here to take into account. So again, just have to be mindful of that here. I just have to be mindful of that. I mean, just thinking about different things. I mean, yeah, the hurricane threats. I mean, we have to have the rip current threat toward the East Coast, but maybe eventually in the Gulf Coast region as well. That can be deadly. We saw it so much there earlier in the summer period. So many people losing their life there around Panama City. It was just awful day after day. I mean, there's so many reports coming in, and don't know if we'll get a repeat of that, but just got to be really careful there. Stay out of the water there. I mean, in those more adverse conditions. I mean, if officials are saying stay out of the water, stay out of the water. And if you're not experienced, honestly, maybe if you have any concern, just take the more safe path there. Just don't get in. But again, let's just go ahead and see if there's anything else we need to talk about. We came on for the storm warnings here to one. That really popped up on us. A very interesting situation. Don't have any new ones popping up right now, but again, tropics are going to be, and are still right now even top of mind for what we could be seeing next week here. Don't have any like updated rainfall graphics or anything since we just came on here at this point with the warning information jumped on here, but again, it's that time of year. We've had so many storms this time of year be a problem. So just make sure you're prepared. Whether it's a tropical storm, like maybe an Elsa or a Faye, or maybe it's something that's more memorable, like an Irma. Not out of the question, at least for how we saw it toward our local area impact, similar to that. I mean, there's still a lot of options on the table with that warm Gulf waters, and then a situation where things can happen quickly. I know I'm not saying this is going to happen. It probably will not happen. So make that clear. But some of our strongest hurricanes were only tropical storms a couple days beforehand. So that's why you gotta be really, really cautious here. I'm thinking of like Michael and some of those here. We really have situations where things can rapidly intensify. Not seeing a lot of that in the model, and there's a little bit of that, but things can happen so quickly. You won't have a lot of time to change your preparations from what you would do in a tropical storm Cat 1 situation to something more substantial. Go ahead and see real quick that Saffir-Simpson hurricane wind scale here. Let's just see you guys that real quick, and you can see what I'm talking about there. You see, I mean, the damage from Michael in the background there to Tyndall Air Force Base. And, I mean, that's catastrophic type of damage there with the trees being impacted. But Cat 1 still, yeah, I mean, if we had a Cat 1 coming through North Central Florida, I mean, that'd be the worst thing we've seen. I mean, it'd be probably more impactful than Irma if it was a Cat 1 right at landfall. We really haven't seen that much toward the Cedar Key area there in a long time. A direct hit from a hurricane. They're coming right on in. So that's why, I mean, you watch nationally, you think, well, Cat 1, not a big deal, but our North Central Florida area here really hasn't been hit by, I mean, we had Irma, of course, that comes to mind. In fact, I have some graphics in here I wasn't going to use yet. I think I'll pop them up real quick here. At least one of them, maybe, if it isn't in the system. Okay, we'll go to this one here, I think. This could be a pretty good one. Let me change one thing here I was highlighting. We'll keep it highlighted, I guess, because it kind of got, I mean, I'm not saying this is going to happen by any stretch of the imagination, but again, I just want you guys prepared. I'm not trying to hype things up. I get kind of concerned here going into a weekend, and then high school football is back, and college football is coming back, and you want to think about that, and unfortunately, you need to think about the weather too. You need to think about that. You need to think about maybe getting some of those supplies just to be safe here. Just to be safe. I mean, we cover 62 counties, so some of our counties probably all right, and you'll be wondering what the big deal was, Roy, but some of our counties, it might be a different story here, so that's why we want you guys prepared. We're in Bradford, but we cover these 62, we cover Florida National, but these are our ones that we're always on for 40-20 to 1 storms and how our forecast is made based on these 62 counties here. But yeah, let's go to that hurricane historical type of graphic here at this point in time. You can see unnamed hurricane in 1896 came up there. It was one of those, along with Dore and another one named one in the 1800s, were the only three in recorded history to come within 50 miles of Stark where we're at as Category 2 plus hurricanes. So, and Irma is on another list. We have a storm from 68 there, and then with Dore in 64, there's the last three hurricanes that come with that type of strength within 50 miles of Stark. But Dore is the last one that was a little bit more substantial, and then it came from the east there. The only one to make landfall was a hurricane in northeast Florida Coast in the 20th century, but then the 19th century we had two recorded there coming at us that were staying stronger there. And this would not be an East Coast landfall, it'd be a Gulf Coast landfall here. So just gotta be careful. It has happened in the past, but not in anybody's living memory as we look back at 1896 there. So something like that is not off the table here. Normally it is, and the chances aren't all that high, but it's not off the table at this point, in my opinion, but based on my meteorological analysis of things. So again, it's very tricky here. It's just, I mean, even a 1 or a 2, that storm in 1896, it was there getting a little bit up there, but even a 1 or a 2 could still be really very problematic for our area. So just leave you with that here. Don't want to panic, you guys. There's still a good chance here. I mean, we won't get the brunt of this. Maybe it won't strengthen to stay a tropical storm there for a forward period in there. That'd be great news if we didn't get too many impacts, but we just want you guys to be aware that there's a small chance that things could kind of ramp up pretty rapidly. I don't want you guys caught off guard here. I mean, at this point, I think the chances of it actually not developing, though, into something that comes close, if not making landfall in Florida, at least a tropical storm, well, those are pretty much off the table. It's probably going to be a landfalling tropical system toward Florida, at least, if not in Florida here next week. Whether it's in our area or not, you don't really know at this point. So, again, tricky stuff, and just stay calm. There's nothing definitive about the forecast right now. No official cone or anything like that. It's just, once there's a cone, I mean, we're already in the time frame. If there was a center and they could do a cone here, things are too changeable right now. There's no really well-defined center and no well-defined system. But if there were, I mean, you'd already be in the cone here. We generally don't have it like that. Normally with Irma, the storm was already there. 5 days out, you already had the cone. People are preparing. That's why I get kind of concerned, because the Gulf waters are just so favorable here. This could take off. You could really snap your fingers and things are really, I mean, it's just a situation that is concerning. I think that's going to do it for now. Let me go ahead and, if there's any more questions from any of the viewers here, make sure you guys know we're on different platforms. Facebook there, Casey Cloud X Cloud Weather, Twitter /X there. That's the other name for it now, the new name for it, X there at Cloud Casey. YouTube at Cloud Weather. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already, and enable those notifications there. Enable those notifications if you haven't done so. You can set it up to get all those. And then you have Twitch there, Cloud Weather, and your website, cloudweather.com. And the interactive radar there. The interactive radar is available on there. You also have that live tab, or just look on the top of the page, all the different platforms, links there, one for each, available on there as well. That's cloudweather.com. So that's going to do it for now. Thanks so much for tuning in. We had that warning go away. The one very quickly toward Tallahassee, the other one toward Monticello. And then as we're looking here right now, we have a marine warning toward areas there in the Gulf and toward the Gulf. But not seeing a situation here at this point. We have any new severe thunderstorm warnings. Let's zoom in one last time on the hyper-local radar here. The hyper-local radar on Subtropic. You can see we have some brighter colors still showing up, honestly. Watch the Cropperville winds to about 50 still showing up there. As we look, you've seen some of them pop in and out there. So, I can't rule out a tree getting knocked down or something like that out there. No warning was reissued. Honestly, you had a, look at that scan there as you go back. That was pretty strong wind there at about 12:30. Those winds over 60 showing up on velocity, pretty low down, but situation where the warnings have been a little bit harder to issue here tonight in this type of setup. But again, just continuing to track things here. We're going to go ahead and zoom back. I see some lighting still. I know we'll have a chance of storms tomorrow, 30-40% again. So for those games that are getting resumed here, hopefully things hold off. But today's chance that we had at 30, honestly, probably should have been closer to 40 or 50. Things kind of ramped on up there and modeling there, and it really came together. But that's just looking back after the fact, not that the models ahead of time showed that. But again, watching potential right now for wind gusts. The Weather Service is saying up to about 50 miles an hour. Here, the latest advisory at 145 reports to Franklin, McCulloch, Gadsden, Leon and Liberty, indicating that. So, again, still be careful out there. Could have some power outages, but again, we talked about it. Could be a more substantial event next week with a potential tropical threat from Idalia that could end up developing and moving toward our area. I can't guarantee that's going to be the name here at this point. But again, we'll be watching, we'll be tracking. For now, unless we come back with another warning, we'll wish you a great night here. Stay safe. We made this post warning. There's that new box, by the way, that came on there again, up to 50 with the gust there. So hopefully we won't get any more warnings popping in. But if we do, we'll let you know about them here as necessary.